Welcome back to the programme. Well, a new study has been monitoring how people's online opinions of COVID-19 vaccines have changed over the last month. That's a story that Matthew in the Cube's been following.
Isabel, vaccines have certainly been the topic of conversation in 2021, either in the public or online. The latest news today, announced by the United States Food and Drug Administration, is that they have found the Johnson & Johnson jab to be highly effective against severe COVID-19, including the variants found in South Africa and Brazil. You would assume that this news means that public opinion and support for the Johnson & Johnson jab will increase. But over the last month, how has public opinion changed on different types of vaccines? Well, here in the Cube, we've been speaking to Pulsar. They are an audience intelligence company, and they've been analysing a range of data to assess how 5 of the most talked about vaccines around the world have been viewed by the public online. Well, this is their graph, and it can appear quite complex, but what we can see here is that no vaccine has remained on a constant public opinion. This varies on a day-to-day basis. However, you can see spikes about where public opinion has been particularly high or low in a certain vaccine, and these can generally be explained. For example, here on February the 10th, when the Oxford University and AstraZeneca jab, indicated by this pink line here, when that was endorsed by the World Health Organization, you can see it has a Pulsar score of 100, the highest possible. And other examples of where vaccines have been positively received come after they have been successfully rolled out by a certain country or given further approval by a World Health Organization. So those are to be expected, but there's also other interesting spikes. Here, for example, with this blue line, you will see at the end of January that the Johnson & Johnson jab also received a very high Pulsar score, despite the fact that, as I've just said, it has only today been found highly effective by the United States federal agencies. Well, on these days, Johnson & Johnson released their clinical test saying that it was effective as a one-dose jab. And Pulsar say that this indicates that there is public enthusiasm for a single-shot vaccine, which might be more easy to distribute and also more easy to receive. There are also negative public opinions, and they can also be explained. For example, here again at the end of January, when there was a political row between the United Kingdom and the European Union over vaccine supply of both Pfizer and AstraZeneca, you can see that public opinion steadily decreased for both of those jabs, according to Pulsar. So here we can see that external factors like issues of supply and medical opinion can influence the public's online perception of different vaccines. Well, here in the Cube, I spoke to the organisation behind this data, Pulsar, and their Vice President of Marketing, Davide Beretta, told me why it was so important that they had analysed this kind of data.
If we look at the mass vaccine adoption as the way out of this pandemic, as it seems to be the only way out, monitoring this sentiment really gives us a good understanding of where and when and what affects the hesitancy, the skepticism, or really the anti-vaccine sentiment. So we think it's an important system to kind of monitor this sentiment and kind of understand where that conversation is going.
With vaccine hesitancy still being a huge topic of conversation across Europe, this data is really interesting to note. And one of the key takeaways from this study, the fact that the Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccine has a lot of public enthusiasm and support so far.